Hello, James here. How you guys doing? Um, I'm gonna make a video and let you hear something I made about 5 years ago, and then I'm gonna show you some other content creator. This is this involved with interracial dating, but this time it's gonna be black men and white women, and then I'm gonna show you some other video.
Or just because I'm using the women as an example. I don't know how this is for the men, but how they react when their daughters go out and they date and they decide to fall in love with African American men. And no matter how educated he is, no matter how much money does he have, they still have this stigma that they don't want something melanated dark in the family because of a stereotype and what perception it be. And even though there's African Americans that accomplish things in sports, accomplish things in music, entertainment, and in other arenas, as in America, you still you there. They want your talent, but they don't want you. They don't want your presence. You have a lot of people when they see something different, it's disturbed their reality. So I just wanted. That's what made me clarify. The plus, I know friends have gone through this. I know people have gone to school with this, and my personal experience with this myself. So I'm gonna start out with one of the cultures, and basically this could be on the East Coast. Number one culture is you might not really that you will not be really receptive is in the Greek culture. You're not going to be received by the Greek culture, even though this is African, not in America. I don't know over in Greece, but I don't think it's not too well over in Greece from what I heard what happened to the one young brother his name was Bakari Henderson. He was over on business, and he was talking to, he's just being socializing. By him socializing with a female, he being African American, it cost him his life. So that's one of the things. So the Greek culture don't really receive, the African or near African American culture as far as marriage, as far as friendship, as far as sports and stuff like that. Yeah, that's fine. But when you talk about marrying to the family, it's not really received over there. That's number one. Number two culture is mainly here in America, the Italian culture. You can't be a black man and date an Italian and go inside Italian family. Most Italians will not accept it. They will not accept who you are, even though you're famous, even though you can be a good, outstanding, productive citizen with no criminal record, no baby mamas out the drain, and you can be a good person. You can be a most pleasant, charismatic person, but when it comes to their daughters or their sisters or their mothers, no, you're not marrying no Italian. They're not going to receive you too much in that culture. Most won't. Most will, especially on the East Coast. I mean, you move someplace on the East Coast, up on the eastern shoreline with the woman looks Italian, whatever, and she's very attractive, whatever. You might have some problems in some of your major cities. And unless you move into some part of the country where people are open to it, but most of your cities on the East Coast are not open to something like that. Your third people are like your Middle Eastern people. These are people that could be from Palestine. They could be from Lebanon. It could be from one of these different cultures, like Middle Eastern people that came from, like, even though that there's Africans and people that look dark similar to you in their part of the world, they won't really receive come in America. You won't be received in that culture. Sorry, brother, it's just the way it is because what they see in the inner city, and a lot of people in the inner city they think where they have their businesses from, they don't really think highly objective from. But As far as friendship, yeah, you could be friends with somebody, smoking buddies, and you can kick it with whatever. But and do business daily. That's as far as it go. So your Middle Eastern that covers a whole range of Middle Eastern speaking, Arabic speaking people, basically. Basically, in a nutshell. Okay. The fourth one is the East Indians. The East Indian culture. Now I know that there's some East Indians that are in different parts of the world besides India. But you have some East Indians in the Caribbean, you have some East Indians in Africa, you have some East Indians in America, you have some East Indian. But here's the thing, here's the objective is, even though some can be dark as you, they can have share the same features as you. When it comes to the family, in most cases, not in all cases, it might be a certain percentage, but they won't really receive you because an African American male with them, when they think of Africa, when they think of African American male, you pick it like the lowest totem on the pole. And even though we are melanated people, we have melanated people in India, all through parts of India. But even to a certain degree, the most darkest person in India they won't be subjected to that. Not here in America. Now I don't know about over in England, but here in America, that's out. And the reason why I know this from experience, one time I was talking, I met this one young lady, and she was her parents came from New Delhi, so they lived in Canada. They lived like on the northwestern part of, like, I think near Vancouver somewhere. And so that was just social, before, because she lived across the hall, and I just in talking before, and so I was about to give her a newspaper. Her father was there, but her father saw that. Basically, he stepped in between, and he stepped and like took the paper, and he said, "Thank you very much." Really, just like damn. And so it kind of threw me off because it's like, wow, it's like I'm just being friendly, you know what I'm saying? Giving it to her, but her father was there, and so I don't think he liked it, the fact that his daughter is socializing with one a person of a certain class and hue, and this guy, from what I understood, taught at some university down in Florida somewhere. So it's almost like some people they automatically think black people, or especially in America, some of these nations already know that we're at the bottom. So you don't grab something, even though that you can be on TV, they can see black people in all different phases. You still at the bottom as far as this intermingling with each other. Most of the time, that's just something on like a medical basis or something on that Richter and Richter scale, but not on the social basis. And it's sad in parts of America. So that's one. That's so you have Greeks, you have Italians, you have your Middle Easterns, you have East Indians. So that's four, right? Did I say 7, 5, 6, 7? Okay. The next people that won't receive you in the family is the Jewish faith, your Orthodox Jews. That's number 5. Not the ones not your Ashkenazis. They're not going to receive. These are people by faith, because they're not going to receive a black man into the family. I mean, it's just most of them won't do it, even though there have some been on. They have panel, maybe in some cases, been besides some African Americans. But as far as getting into the family and things like that, very, very seldom that you see African American men being with Orthodox or any Jewish women. So they don't want. They already ingrained with that into their mindset. And this is just in America. This not have any reflection outside of America. Maybe in other places it is, but in America, this is the reality that you know. Number 6 people I can say is you have to gear towards certain Spanish cultures, people who speak Spanish. Um, let's see, which ones was kind of stand out? Well, from what I understood, it seemed like the Dominicans is not so cool, but some people say that they are, and the Mexicans and the Dominicans and some Mexican places ain't so cool, so they don't very step outside their relationship into relationship. I could be wrong, but in maybe certain places, but not too many, and especially not with the Dominicans. Dominicans pretty much carry over to another. They do. I believe they go out to another group of people. Who else that I can think of down there that I can pick up out of the people who speak Spanish? I think people from Spain, I don't think that they would do it either. I don't think women from Spain would talk to, that would here in America, they think because they see, no matter they see African players and African Americans, is that, I don't think that they would really receive us too well as far as in dating and marriage. This is what I'm covering, dating and marriage. So that's one thing. Then you have certain tribes in Africa that would receive African American. Yeah, certain people in Africa that would receive African Americans. Excuse me. That because they come with the opinion, especially when it comes to America. Basically, certain brothers and sisters from the continent, counterparts from the continent that don't really interact with African Americans, between the people from different, let's say like Nigeria, different individuals or certain isolated tribes, we would kind of interact with each other, and because people just see that we all in the same thing, it would be different. I don't hear too many things about Haitians, so I don't know about Haitians either. But I don't really consider that. But it all depends on what part of the country. But I've never seen Haitians with anybody outside of someone's near Haitian descent. Okay, number 7. Let me see. So we covered that. And I really feel that the Russian community here, the Russians, women, I don't think that would give black men a chance. Maybe over in Russia, but not here in America. And so once people get, these certain ethnic groups get in America, everybody come up under the umbrella of class and status and stuff like that. And this is the truth. So when someone bring you to their home, whatever, the whole attitude is changed, because a lot of it has to do with the media and what is precepted. And once you paint something in mind, you don't want to be connected with these people as far as having an intermingle in the family. So and that's why I made this video. Just because it's an eye-opener. A lot of people don't really, this is one of the topics, but I want to do opposite topics from my African-American and brothers in the diaspora about what women will accept us too. I will make another video about that, but I just wanted to make the wish the cultures in America, not outside America. From what I've heard from brothers that's been, different black men that have been overseas, and how the way they were loved, the way they were treated over in different parts of the world, and how the way, because right now, in certain areas of the world, you have to be careful too. And the reason why I mentioned the area of Greece, because of what happened to Bakari Anderson, because it was a sad situation that the young man was just over there on business, and he gets attacked by. And it was, I don't know if there was a mixture of Greeks or Albanians, but they attacked this young man for no reason. I don't know, he just talking to somebody, and they ganged up on him, and they literally killed him. and he was just basically probably just being friendly with one of the locals. It cost him his life over there because they might have took it the wrong way. And from what I see over here in America, the Greeks, as far over here, they won't mingle. They don't mind as far as your friends, as far as workers, all these other cultures like these people. They don't mind working with you. Was as far as it goes. As far as you being one with family, somebody can treat you like family, but they gonna bring you into the family, if you know what I mean. So you have to. So this is one of the videos, and this is the reason why. And a lot of his perception with African American men is that we're not highly educated, we don't have political power, we don't have financial power. So that's the reason why. So African Americans in America are like low totem pole of all the people. Even though you will see African Americans in different positions, overall, nobody want to be, not too many people of these different ethnic backgrounds wants to associate with us. And you just because a few individuals do something bad, commit a crime, but they don't see them as an individual. Some people see people as a whole, as a color, and that's the way America in itself. I'm sorry to say this, when it comes to different groups of people, that's the way we're taught, because basically what we see on TV and what the news has put out for us, and so people see this, and so when they see African American males, or they see them with some young men might be sagging with their pants down, they'll think they're educated. This is what I heard, that they don't really speak with clarity, they don't hold themselves upright with their pants up on their butt, and they stereotype the wrong ones, and it really, they don't get to see the person as an individual, but they see what they see out in what they experienced in the neighborhood, or they had a bad experience with someone who just had a bad personality, or they just wasn't, basically some people just wasn't raised with morals and values. Maybe that individual in that family wasn't taught to be a man, and it don't apply to all black men, because some of us is very intelligent. No matter if you get a room full of black men, you're gonna find that they're just as intelligent, not just in music, not just in sports, but in other arenas too. That we are the melanated men on the planet that God has gifted us in more ways than one. And that, but people, when they think of power, they think of power with finances and politics and things like that. But it is bigger than that. And so you don't picture a young black man in America being successful. They don't picture him being a doctor. They don't picture him being a business owner. Even though that, history has shown that there are African American people here in this country that did horrendous things, but it's still kind of like that stereotype, that some people want to hold on to stereotype. And a lot of people hold on to stereotype is because they're jealous. Let's just come out and just say, some people are just jealous for no reason. I mean, some people are just jealous at a group of people who really don't have, as a mass of people, to come out, because a good mass of African American men and women as well, its families are at a certain level as far as wealth and power. So we don't have the wealth and power as the other nations do.
How you guys doing? This is Jamel Fonzo Holmes. I'm back to you here with another video, and this is the resurface video, and this is for my brothers, specifically my brothers, and anyone else. Y'all can watch the video if y'all want to. And I just wanted to say, what this resurface video is, this is not a bashing video. This is just an education video, and this is just something to give my brothers some new insight on. So this is not anything to try to harm anyone, and this is not a video to be disrespectful to anyone. So with that being said, I gotta give my brothers what they want. And if it's information that I have and I'm able to give advice on things that's able to help them, then so be it. So let's get on with the video on how to get a white girl and how to know she's actually interested in you. For my brothers. So first things first, one thing you guys have to realize is most white women, they don't like black men. And I'm not here to spoil your parade or anything, but just listen to me. Most white women, they do not like black men. And most women, period, they prefer men of their own race. And I think you men should just stop following this narrative. But one thing I will say is there's about 10%. So they fall under 4 categories. Category number 1 is the undeniable. 90% of and by the way, this video is just my personal opinion. You understand? It's very subjective, and nothing is cut and dry. So the first type of Caucasian woman is the undeniable. The undeniable, this is a woman that she is not interested, and I think most white women, they fall under this category. They just prefer their own race, and that's most women. There's nothing wrong with them. They're not, prejudiced or anything, but they just prefer, what they're used to. Like most women, like black women, Latina, Arabic. Most women prefer their own race. There's a study done on this, okay? So, and then the second category you have is the curiosity one. So with the curiosity one, this is a white woman that who's just curious. She more than likely she's going to get her a white man. She's going to go with a white man, but she's a little bit curious. So she might get a Hispanic man, a lighter skinned Hispanic man, or maybe a light skinned brother with green eyes or something like that. But the thing is, he might not necessarily have. He can't be from the brother's environment. He's not necessarily from the black environment. He's probably a light-skinned dude with green eyes, biracial most likely, and he doesn't necessarily come from the black environment. So that's normally, the curious ones, you would normally see her with a guy like that, or like someone like a lighter-skinned Hispanic guy. But more than likely, she's going to play it safe with her own race. You understand? There's some who are just curious. You understand? So the next one is the most tricky one is the universal. The universal one is the one, what universals is, they're not only just attracted to the black man, they're attracted to all. They don't care what you are. And that's the tricky part about universals, because you really don't know what they like until you actually speak to them, until you actually get to know them. So you just can't look at them and tell, what they like and what they're attracted to. Even what they do, they might just hang out with everyone you might not know. So with this type of woman is you really gonna have to talk to her and really have to pick her brain and see, you actually have to get to know her to see what she's actually interested to, whoever she gives her attention to. But one thing I notice about universals is they see no color. You understand? They're cool with everyone. They'll hang out with anyone, and they will date anyone. And yeah, they're just overall cool. And then we have the last one, the definite. And we all know about the definites. And one thing about a definite is they make sure that they separate themselves from the rest of the pack. And they go out their way to make it known that they like black men. And they go out their way to make it look like that they're well within the culture. And they go out their way to try to actually attract more black people to them, whether it's black friends or also a black boyfriend. So that is definite. You could just look at them and tell.
They got that slang.
I'm going to give you guys some things that they do. And hopefully you guys can bear with me because this is a pretty long list. Well, it's not long, but let's just get right into it. So first things first, here's some indications of things they might do to actually, let you know. You never know. None of this is definite. None of this is definite at all. Sometimes they could just hang around black people, but they still prefer their own race. So you really never know. But here's some of the things, and the first one is they put themselves in vicinity of black people. They might go to a football game. They might go to a basketball game. They might go to a West Indian party. They might go to a soulful restaurant. You might see her around black people. So that's another indication that she might be attracted to black men. So you really never know. So if you're seeing this, then this is something you can just take into perspective. Another thing is if she says anything liberal. Now this can mean anything. This might not mean it. She might not be interested in politics at all. You never know. I'm just giving you pointers, things to look out for. But she might say something liberal or progressive. And if she says anything like that, that just lets you know she has an open mind. You understand? She has a very progressive mind, and she believes, she has empathy, and she believes everyone should be treated equally. And she's a very open-minded person. So this can mean absolutely nothing, but she's probably not interested in politics. But if she says anything liberal, that might, you can take that also as a tip and take it also to perspective that she might be interested. She might. Also, the music that she listens to and also her accent. One thing about, especially the Definites, they dominate in this category. Maybe in some universals also, some curious, but they might just listen to the music. If you hear one of them listening to some hip hop music, that might give you a little bit of an indication that they're feeling the culture. They might be interested. You understand? Mm-hmm. So that's another thing you might want to look up on, is if they're listening to the same music as you. Or do they listen to hip hop? Do they listen to R&B? Check it out. If you hear them listening to it, then you can talk to them. You might be invited in. So just check it out and take that into perspective also. Now I want to talk about some looks that they have. And this is one thing that separates the Definites from also the universities. I say universities. The universals and also, the curious ones and also the undeniables. The Definites have this part on lock. So first things first, if you see curly hair, that can mean anything, fellas. It can mean anything. You understand? But if you see the curly hair and you see the hoop earrings and you see the lip gloss on and you see the black eyeliner, the long black lashes, the French braids or the cornrows, that just might be a big indication that she's probably interested. And you would normally see a Definite dress like this. Jordans on, listening to hip hop music, hanging around, African American people. So these is all indications, and also, tattoos. Just look out for these things. This might be a sign that she's like dressed like a black woman, preferably like if she's dressed like a black woman. This might give you an indication that she might be interested in black men. Okay, so one thing, this is a big difference between the Definite and the universal, because the universal is going to dress like her culture. You understand? Mm-hmm. She might listen to the music a little bit. She might have a tattoo or two or something like that. But a universal, she normally dresses like what her culture is. A Definite, she's going to dress like the black culture. Okay. So you want to look out for that, and it's hard to differentiate. You just have to get to know them. You got to talk to them. But a Definite is someone you can actually look at and you can just tell. But a universal, you're not gonna know. You're not gonna know until you actually talk to them. You're gonna have to listen to the music that they listen to. They're not gonna be dressed up like a Definite. You understand? They might have some things. They might wear some French braids every once in a while. They might have a tattoo, or they might have some hoop earrings. You really just never know. And all of this can mean nothing, because there's some of them who can dress how you can be for sure that she likes black guys, and she'll pull up with a white boyfriend. Yeah. So I'm telling you guys, you really just never know. So I'm just giving you some tips and pointers, okay? Yeah, that's true. Now here's how to get them. Now I don't have much tips on this, to be honest with you, but one thing I will say is just talk to them, bro. Shoot your shot. And what I mean by shoot your shot, for you brothers out there, especially you ones who are about to go on to college and jump onto a college campus, you're not going to approach them all aggressively, because one thing you got to understand is some of them have never encountered a black person in their lives. You don't know what town they're from, you don't know where they're from, so you're not going to approach them aggressively, okay? You're going to be respectful and be friendly, okay? Just talk to them. Figure out what setting you're in and try to spark up a conversation based on the setting that you guys are in, all right? So if she's around, if she's with her black friends and she's in the same setting as you, draw up a conversation based on the setting, and that's just it. Shoot your shot that way, and then from there, then you seal the deal from there. You don't want to, just run up. I don't recommend you talking to any woman in any type of aggressive way. You understand? Not just her. Any woman at all. Always, you want to always be respectful when you approach a woman. Okay.
Exactly.
So make sure you're respectful and make sure you're friendly, And also, if you get rejected, make sure you're not butthurt, okay?
Right.
Because I just told you guys,
right.
90% of them, maybe 85, 90% of them do not like black men, okay? So
right.
you can get to know them, talk to them.
Right.
If you get rejected, it's okay. Just move on, bro. Be respectful. Be a gentleman also. Be a G. Also, what I want to say, one thing that can help you is if you actually have diverse friends. You understand? If you have Caucasian friends, that might be able to help you because it might bring you a little bit closer to
right.
what you're attracted to. If you guys are interested and you're looking to get into it. So, have diverse friends. Have white friends, and within that circle, you could probably meet more women. Also, try to go to places where there's predominantly Caucasian people there. So then, find out whatever activities that they're doing and put yourself within that vicinity. Get some of your friends and you want to bring some of your boys there, and whoever gives you the most interaction, they might just be the most interested in you, okay?
Exactly.
So just try to go there, be polite, be friendly, you understand? Try to interact with people, and whichever girl gives you the most interactions,
exactly.
or whatever girl gives you the most chemistry and attention, more than likely she's more comfortable, with black people. So that might be the one you might want to get to know. Okay, so it's no different from any other woman. You understand? Just make sure you're polite and you're respectful, and make sure you're a G. Okay, be a man, and also learn how to handle rejection. It's okay if someone
right.
is not interested in you, bro.
Right.
It's alright, man. It's going to be another day. And like I said in the beginning of the video, this is not a video where we bash anyone. We're not bashing anyone. We're not trying to harm anyone. I'm just giving you guys the education and some tips to look out for if you guys are interested. Okay, so remember. Remain a G, be respectful, okay? And just look out for some of these tips, and these are some things that you can take with yourself. And also, hopefully you guys are successful. I don't know. But I'm Jamel Fonzo Holmes. This is Perspective for today. And by the way, this is just my personal opinion. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Nothing is definite, all right? And I'm out of it.
He's absolutely right. For young men period, or older men or young men, but when you go on, don't be kind of creepy, because you never know, they might turn out to be a Karen or something like that. So you really got to feel the atmosphere for that. When it comes to a white woman, you really have to be careful. You really got to be careful, and because and if they don't. And like he said, most of the time, it's a hit and miss, And then also, I don't know if he forgot to mention, make sure that black man, if she's a white woman, that she's not doing out of rebellious to her family. What I mean by that is that she's just doing it just to get back at her boyfriend, or just because her family, knowing that her family. That's another thing too, because that can probably work, and it's kind of a toxic situation. So make sure that when you get with somebody that they cool with it. And I think I played this video before. And I'm gonna let you hear what he said. It was a couple corners in here, but I'm play it again.
So, let's discuss a few things about white girls that every black man should know. Now, there are a lot of black men out here who advocate don't date black women, don't date black women, date white girls, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of black men sort of do other black men a disservice. And that disservice is they characterize dating white girls as it being just all peaches and cream. It's the land of milk and honey, right? It's dating white girls, it's all upside, au contraire. There are many, 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 many downsides to dating white girls. And I think I've done an episode regarding that. I think I called it the downsides of dating white girls, or the disadvantages of pursuing white girls, something like that. Anyway, what I'm going to talk about now are a few things about the about the mentality of white females within the context of a sexual relationship with a black man that black men need to know and understand. Okay? Again, listen, there are advantages to dating white girls, to be sure. Okay? But like every good thing in life, there is a price to be paid. If you want an elite physique, the price to be paid is diet and exercise. If you want to be rich, the price that you pay, you got to work hard. You got to put in 80 hours a week. You want to be an entrepreneur? Guess what? The 40-hour work week is over. For females, if you want a high-value men, the price to be paid is don't get fat, don't be a... Those are... Unfortunately, those things have become nearly impossible for females to sort of stick with these days. But anyway, part of the price to be paid for dating white girls is that they are, of course, white girls. And there are a few things that you need to understand about dating white girls that you need to get through your head. And this stuff ain't changing, guys. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've actually got 6. Okay? Number 1, the first thing that black men need to be well aware of regarding white girls is white girls are naive about the struggle. Gentlemen, white girls, and this isn't their fault, right? Because they're white girls. White girls are positively clueless about the things that black men go through on a daily basis. They have no idea what it's like to see a cop in the rearview mirror and have your heart rate elevate, have your blood pressure rise. When a white girl sees a cop behind her, she doesn't think of anything. It's just a cop. Now she feels safe. Me personally, I don't feel safe when there are police officers around. Now, I don't feel like I'm in danger, or at least not most of the time, but when there are cops around, I don't have that sense of security, like, hey, if she pops off, the cops are around. No, man. It's every for himself as far as the cops go. And I'll give you a perfect example of white females not having no idea about, quote-unquote, the struggle. And about, see, black men, black people, we live in a different America than white people. Listen, man, I'm not getting into the whole racial thing. I'm not mad at white people. I'm not doing all of that, right? Not talking about white devils and this. No. But African-American men live in a different America than white females, obviously. Right. And I'll give you an example. When I first started dating Devin, okay, we didn't always live together. When I used to go to her place, there was this light right outside her place that says, "Don't make a right on red." And the first time I pulled up to it, I'm driving her car. She's like, just blow through it. I do all the time. I looked at her, or passenger, I looked at her, I was like, what the f*** are you talking about? Yeah, just blow through it. I do it all the time. I said, sweetheart, you're a white woman. I'm a black man. Cops let you get away with more than I do. Then she goes on and on about, the cops here in this city are totally cool, da-da-da. I'm like, did you not hear what I just said? You're a white woman, I'm a black man. Like, cops don't give a fuck. Listen, you think cops are great because you're a white girl. Right. I don't think Devin's ever been arrested. She may have had one ticket in her life.
Especially with the black man, too?
She's never had that kind of incident. She just doesn't understand. No. Here's another example. We were watching Live PD. And I talked about this way back in episode 13. We're watching Live PD. It's a show on A&E. And there was this white girl who got pulled over. Okay, and the reason why they pulled her over is because they saw that she quickly switched lanes, and that is when somebody recognizes preemptive traffic stop behavior. If they see a cop in the rear view and they use evasive techniques in terms of getting away from the cop so he can't read her plates, that sends the cop's mind into overdrive. Okay, why are they swerving away? Maybe there's warrants. So he pulls her over. This chick's license was suspended. She had a warrant out for her arrest. She had a warrant out for her arrest, and she had 2 kinds of drugs on her, cocaine and crystal meth. I'm going to say it again. Outstanding warrant, driving while license revoked, okay, and 2 kinds of drugs. The cop let her walk. Devin saw that, and she was utterly shocked. She had no idea. Finally, I said, do you see what I'm talking about? All she could do is just sit there and shake her head, right? She just sat there and shook her. I said, look, I'm not making this up. I'll give you another example. We were actually watching Live PD the other day. This is unbelievable. They pulled this dude over. They pulled a black man over because he made a right-hand turn but didn't stay in the right lane. So he made a right-hand turn and then switched lanes into the left lane. I didn't know that was illegal in Ohio. That's why they pulled this guy over. Turned out that this guy had a warrant out for his arrest for not paying child support. Doesn't matter, they wouldn't have found that out had they not pulled him over for no reason. Then there was a case where a white woman was in her car, all drugged the up. Someone saw her driving and swerving. She managed to park in a parking lot. This bitch was high as a kite. And in the end, the cop said, you know what? I'm just going to let this woman sleep it off so that she can enjoy the rest of her day. There you go, man. It's because of things like this. Because of things like this, white women will never understand about the struggle. The second thing you need to understand is they don't really give a struggle. Nor should they. I did an article expecting white people to care about the plight of black people. Gentlemen, we are all selfish by nature. This is how it is. This is always the way it's going to be. When we see commercials about, the starving kids in Africa, our heart goes out to them, and we might even pick up the phone and pledge a couple of bucks a month to help them out. But as soon as we hang up that phone, gentlemen, we're not thinking about that anymore because we're inherently selfish. The fact that your white girlfriend could not give two about your struggle as a black man, that's not on her, but you have to understand she doesn't care. Now, she cares about you, right? If you get harassed by the cops, if you're racially profiled, she's going to raise holy hell because that's you, right? But she doesn't give a about the plight of black people, guys. They really don't care. Listen, kudos to her for trying to act like she really cares, but she doesn't. It's almost like the female sports fan. You get with a girl, I'm an Eagles fan. Thankfully for me, I don't know how this happened. Devin happens to be a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and she really is an Eagles fan. Like, she has an old school Brian Westbrook jersey and everything, so I knew she was genuine. But we've all met that girl who tries to be a sports fan, but you can tell she's not really a sports fan because she doesn't really get about sports. It's the same thing there. Here's another thing. Your white girlfriend, she thinks that you are the exception to every stereotype out there. See, again, this is the hive mind of females. In her mind, she wants to rationalize, okay, I made a good decision. He's a black man, and I know I'm going to catch some heat, but he's not the typical black guy. He's not a and that and the other. Listen, man.
Yeah.
Listen, I have a podcast and I'm well-spoken and this and that and the other, but make no mistake about the fact, gentlemen, don't let the light skin and the strong command of the English language fool you. I embody a lot of the negative stereotypes of black men. Yes, I have been arrested several times. Yes, I've spent time in jail. Yes, I have a criminal record. Yes, I have a violent temper. This is how it is. I am not special, okay? I am not he's a black man, but nothing special about me. Your white girlfriend will rationalize in her mind that you are the exception to every stereotype. Now, this doesn't mean that I am the stereotypical black man. Obviously, I'm not a hood, I'm not an Uncle Tom or anything like that, but for me to sit here and say that I am the exception to every rule out there, nah, man. Nope. Now, your girlfriend is going to think this, but you're going to have to be honest with her. You are not special. Here's another thing, and this is very dangerous. Number 4, white girls think their white privilege extends to you, right? If you get, the most dangerous weapon a black man can have in his car when he gets pulled over by a white cop is a white girl. Because white girls don't respect cops, right? So, license and registration police, dude, your white girlfriend is going to be like, what the are you pulling him over for? He has his rights, blah, 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 blah. She thinks that because she's white and in the car with you, that the cop is then going to extend her white privilege to you. Obviously, as a black man, we know that it certainly does not work that way. But you have to understand, you're going to have to explain this to your girlfriend. Hey, listen, your white privilege doesn't extend to me, right? You're trying to get me shot. You want to get me shot? Well, they're not going to shoot you. I'm white. No, sweetie. They'll cap out of me. They're not going to cap you. They're going to cap me. Shut the sit there and let me handle my business. White girls always think that their white privilege extends to you. They think that they think that when they walk down the street with you, that they're not going to catch, the eyes of white people. They think that they're no. White girls always think that their white privilege extends to you. It's never true. A couple of final thoughts here that you're really, really going to have to sort of understand about white women is they never think things are ever good enough, okay? And this actually blends with the last one. white girls always find something to complain about. Gentlemen, listen, I love Devin to death. She's a good woman, she's good to me, etc., etc. But she complains about everything. She complains about the wait staff. I remember when we first got together, she told me, well, people really don't...
Hold on, I want to show you something.
Hey guys, what is up? Cassie West here with my brand new channel, The Feminine Philosopher, and today I wanted to talk about some of the surprising similarities and commonalities that white men and black women have with one another, and the role of race in marriage, and the success and failures of interracial marriage, and just how stark some of the differences are between various racial pairings and the likelihood of a successful marriage outcome. Today I'm going to be reading some studies and statistics on interracial marriages, and before I go into that, I just want to give some caveats, because the studies and statistics are all pretty unflattering to black men and white women. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video, because I do find the information very interesting, and I feel like if anyone other than a black man or a white woman shared this stuff, an Indian guy or a Hispanic guy or, an Asian woman or a black woman could be accused of, oh, you're just saying this stuff to look good or whatever. But it's pretty unflattering to black men and white women. So me sharing it, or black guy sharing it, just kind of lends to the credibility of the studies and statistics that I'm going to be going over today. Now, obviously, I love men of all races. I love women of all races. Again, these are just statistics and generalities. Of course, there are plenty of interracial marriages involving white women that are successful and will be married till the day that they die. And the same is true for, black men in interracial marriages. There's millions of successful marriages of all races all over the place. These are simply statistics and studies for our own knowledge. And let me give you an example of how this information is helpful, and how I actually personally would have benefited from knowing this sort of thing several years ago. My husband and I are in a pretty traditional marriage. Like, he's the breadwinner. We go to a conservative Baptist church. I am a stay-at-home mom. We have a ton of children, and I homeschool them. So we have a pretty traditional lifestyle. And anytime I would have an issue come up that I would want help for, outside of the context of, women in my church community that share my religious beliefs, outside of that context, whenever I would look up anything on the internet, it was almost impossible to find any sort of help. So let's say that I wanted to ask, my husband will not let me paint the cabinets. I'm sick of him infantilizing me. How do I get him to let me do this? Or how do you deal with a husband who's infantilizing you? Just something like that. Anytime that I would go to the internet with a question like that, I couldn't even get any advice, because the only advice I ever got was to divorce my husband, and that the relationship sounded abusive, and blah, blah, blah. So, let's say that I wanted to paint the cabinets and my husband wouldn't let me, so I would, look up on, a question and answer thing, or a write-in to the therapist thing, where someone would ask a very similar question, and what answers the article was giving to the person writing the question that was very similar to mine. So I never was talking to these people directly. I'm just saying, when I looked up people in similar situations and then the advice given to them. So any sort of mainstream narrative, which, just by virtue of being mainstream, was kind of a Western and white narrative, just because the majority in our mainstream narrative is white would be from like a white woman's perspective. And like, it's not even as though I was getting bad advice, I was getting no advice, because it wouldn't even matter how benign what I was asking was. Virtually the only advice I could find in response to similar situations to mine was like, what do you mean won't let you? Wow, I'm scared. You're actually in a very dangerous, toxic relationship. You should formulate a plan to escape immediately. You build, like, making him seem way worse than he is, making the situation seem way bigger than it is, and really the only advice I ever got was to divorce my husband. I finally realized, like, you know what, maybe I should just look for advice from women from other countries, because they're going to be more likely to be, like, traditional and more patriarchal, and would already kind of have our dynamic, so, like, that in and of itself wouldn't be the deal breaker. And literally immediately, I, like, was able to look up and find some female Indian YouTubers, and the same sort of thing, like, oh, my husband won't let me do this or this around the house. She'd be like, oh, blah, 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 like, and I was able to immediately get practical, helpful advice for, like, all these simple little things day to day that I was going through. And it wasn't just like, oh, they were only saying, like, oh, the man's always right. They would be like, no, this is a problem, but here's maybe where he's coming from, and here's, like, how you can present this or approach this to be the most productive. It was always for the betterment of the relationship, and it was a lot more helpful. But let's say that I had gone into this situation and gone into my marriage already knowing just how unsuccessful most marriages involving white women specifically are, in comparison to women of other races, then I probably would have started looking for advice from women from other countries or cultures or races earlier, and it could have saved myself, months, if not years of hassle. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not sharing this to bash white women or bash black guys or say any race is better or worse than the other. Just simply like, hey, this is good information to have. There might be cultural issues and dynamics and norms and belief systems in various races and cultures that are more or less beneficial to a healthy marriage. And so this is all for education purposes. And when you look at it that way, like, this is stuff that can be helpful and beneficial for everybody. So what got me thinking about this was I was watching the live stream from this YouTuber called The Amazing Lucas. I don't really watch his channel. He was just doing a live stream on the Steven Crowder versus Daily Wire drama, and I was trying to get my fill of the conservative pundit drama. And about halfway through, he just starts bashing white guys. Started talking about how white men are, murderous, slave owners, this and this. I mean, all things that are true about all races. I mean, all races own slaves, but for some reason, white guys are the only ones that get blamed for it. And I was just thinking, that really sucks that white guys just get bashed on all day and it's just considered fine. Like, it's weird. There's not any other demographic that you could do that about. No sooner had I thought that than I saw this clip of this man, Jason Whitlock, who went on to Tucker Carlson's show to talk about how the savage beating of Tyree Nichols from 5 black police officers, and Tyree Nichols himself is a black man. The 5 black officers that, attacked Tyree Nichols is because of a single black mom and, like, a black woman at the police station.
Looked like gang violence to me. It looked like what young black men do when they're supervised by a single black woman. And that's what they got going on in the Memphis Police Department. They've elected or put some black woman in charge of the police force, and we're getting the same kind of chaos and disunity and violence that we see in a lot of these cities that are run by single mothers.
There was no black woman involved. There was no woman involved, period. white men and black women are really a very compatible inverse of each other, where black women are bashed in the mainstream narrative, and it's enforced by their own men, just like white men's attacks are enforced by their own women. And a lot of the problems that are blamed on black women, a lot of the things that people say, a lot of the narratives that they say of black women are like the opposite of true. The same thing for white men. Like, as a collective, you know, they'll say things like they'll say things like other races of women are more feminine, they're more submissive, they make better wives, blah, 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 blah. If you look at the statistics, this actually isn't true at all. You don't really see, you know, an Indian woman out here trying to get us all to think that Indian men are evil. You don't really see, you know, a Hispanic woman out here trying to get us all to believe that Hispanic men are evil. The way that you will actively get black men disparaging black women, you know, and trying.
Yeah, let me stop here and say this to a certain degree, but when black men speak, it's talking about weight or hair. Black women speak is something altogether different, but she didn't hear that part about why some black men do that, but that's her opinion. But I'm gonna give you a quick second. That's her opinion.
She could be your neighbor, or niece, your sister, or daughter. But if she is raped...
The Isaiah Factor Uncensored starts right now. And welcome to The Factor Uncensored. Interracial marriage was made legal in 1967 by the U.S. Supreme Court with their decision on the case Loving versus Virginia. Let that sink in. Interracial marriage was made legal only 56 years ago. That's why we shouldn't be surprised that it's still just as divisive today. Our springboard tonight is actor Alfonso Ribeira. He recently released a photo of his family. His wife just happens to be white. But what's shocking and disturbing is how people are reacting to the couple on social media. Tonight we brought two women together to discuss it, and both have very strong opinions about dating and marrying someone of a different race. Let's take a look and talk about it. And guys, you can remember a time when we remember Carlton Banks, Alfonso Ribeira on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Everyone loved him. It's like, do the Carlton dance, do the Carlton dance. But then when people realized he was married to a white female and just recently posted his entire family in photos on social media, things have really changed. You guys have read some of the comments on social media. It's just mind-blowing, from they're ugly to the kids had no choice but to look white because he's so white on the inside. Where did this kind of hate come from? I remember a time when we all were told, as time goes on and many of the older people in the generations long ago died, then racism and hate would disappear. But it's strong as ever, strong as hell on social media. Bevan, let's begin with you. Your thoughts. Where is this coming from? And I'll mind you, when you see those comments, what do you think that's coming from?
A few things. Number one, black folks were taught to hate themselves throughout history. We were taught to hate ourselves through Jim Crow, through caricatures portraying black women as loose and ugly and animalistic. The same with men. So I think that further down the line with colorism, inside slaves, outside slaves, it's kind of embedded in us to hate ourselves, to not love ourselves, and to put whiteness on a pedestal. Also, Rosewood, Black Wall Street, towns being burnt down based off of, white woman lies, just the whole, we have a whole lot of layers. And then you have the judicial system, from bank loans to being treated unfairly, jail-wise. We have a lot of hatred towards, especially whiteness and white-like things. So I understand it. I get it. But I think it's kind of uncalled for because this is news to me because we all knew that he had a white wife years and years and years ago. And I do understand them saying that they're not shocked by her being white just based off of his character. But I do understand the hate. I get it. We're pounded left and right. No matter where we turn, blackness is always beat on. I mean, look at Little Mermaid. They treat the Little Mermaid like crap in all these other countries. It's anti-black everywhere, not even just white. So,
and do you think this forces black individuals who are on social media to lash out at white people, especially in this case when it's Alfonso Ribeira's wife?
I think that's an avenue to lash out. We don't have a lot of avenues to lash out without being punished, and it's not the other way around. I think that white people especially can lash out and do really heinous things and get away with it, and it's never really the other way around. So when we see a black person with someone who's white, or even a person of color who's not black, we do feel some type of way about it because we're always taught that our blackness is not good enough. You know, people literally have kids with non-black people because they want biracial children. They don't want nappy hair. They don't want they don't want dark-skinned kids. They don't want black features, wide noses. People literally do this to whiten their bloodline.
That's true.
They don't want dark-skinned kids or anything like that.
That part is true.
So I get that. It's
Amber, let's bring you into this conversation. You have dated interracially. Have you felt any hate as a result of dating someone outside of your race by that other race's, the community of that other race?
Absolutely. I've been interracial for 35 years. I was the first person to openly interracial date in a little small town that I lived in part of my life. And, just because you're not racist or you weren't taught hate doesn't mean you're not ignorant. You can still not understand what's really going on in the community and what's going on with the struggle of understanding what you're dealing with other races. And I remember we had to hide it because my dad was a business owner and my best friend was so scared that if it came out that, we would get injured or hurt, we used to get chased by the kids. There was a Ku Klux Klan in our town. Everybody knew who it was. Everybody knew who ran it. And but we were never, my parents never raised us to be racist. So we were, that's where I say the ignorance come from. So I get both sides of it, but you love who you love. And when you grow up like that, you're not taught to hate, you're not taught division. Racism is taught. And I got hate from both sides of it. I still get it. I still get the looks. I still get the comments. I have children that are in their 20s and they're biracial. And I've said this before. I had no idea what kind of struggle I was really putting them into because even though we weren't raised to be racist, we still weren't educated on racism and everything that goes on with that. And so I get hate on both sides. I've had white people come to my events. I do a lot of events, and there's too many black people here, and they don't come again. And it's gotten back to me. I've had the opposite of that. Black people are like, what, he's just a white girl, and I'm like, I'm a grown woman. I'm tired of being called a white girl, first of all. But you know what I'm saying? but the thing about it is, it doesn't diminish black women. It doesn't mean it's a takeaway. It's not meant to be taken as an insult. The bigger question is, what do we say to their biracial children? Because one of the things that, the way I thought about it was, back in the day, 30-some years ago, I'm like, this will help. This will help if we can, biracial kids, you have both sides of it. You understand both sides of it. You don't understand what you're really bringing them into and how racist this world really is. I've lost jobs because of it. I brought my husband to an event. I got fired the next day. I put my pictures out at my job. I got fired the next day. I have lost clients because of it when they met my husband. The racism is on both sides of it. And it's unfortunate because I think that it can be taken personally that saying I'm choosing someone of another race is not meant to be a diminishing act toward black women. I think that it is about you love who you love, but trust and believe the racism is alive and well on both sides of the track.
Beth and Kyle Long lost a child to a rare fetal disorder. That is a tragedy. Ohio law protected her right
to the track.
And believe me, we're just getting started with this conversation. Next, we're taking a deeper dive into interracial dating with one of my guests sharing how colorism plays an important role in that. Keep it here on The Factor Uncensored. And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. We continue our conversation about interracial dating in 2023. It stemmed from vicious backlash aimed at Alfonso Rivera. He had simply posted a photo of his wife, who happens to be white, and biracial children. The public went in on the actor. The discussion among many guests have gone to another level, with both replaying their own personal experiences with prejudices from other races. Let's talk about it. And Devin, when you hear Amber tell us her story, your thoughts on that?
I mean, I feel bad for her to an extent. You know, like, I get all that is wrong, and I understand that love is love. That's only one aspect of it. I mean, for example, look at basketball players, celebrities coming up. The thing to do is to get a white woman or a non-black woman, because black women are with the struggle and they're not with the come up. This is common, this is known, and I know a lot of white women who purposely kind of flaunt that black men want them more than them because they can create good-haired children, that they're more docile, similar to Asian women, that they're not loud, they don't have to wear weave, and X, Y, Z, and the other, which is not good. That's self-hate. So I see a lot of sides to it, but I see a lot more of that in the South. East Coast, a little different. The West Coast, similar to the South, light-skinned, biracial. To an extent, I do feel bad for biracial people. However, they're always put above quote-unquote both black parent people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we go through a lot of colorism. Dark-skinned women are always seen as aggressive, mean, ghetto, loud, ratchet. The light-skinned woman with the white mom or the white dad is so soft and fragile, and this is how it's portrayed in movies, in shows, modeling, fragrances, malls, everywhere. So we can't help but to feel a certain way. I have I have privilege because of my skin tone and my hair texture sometimes. So there's layers to it. I do feel bad that she lost her job and all these different things happen, but I have seen it on the other side where, I'll give you one example, a major one. It was me and some other black women, were at a table with some black men. Actually, before we got there, it was a table of black men, my friends, and some white women there. They were having fun, whatever. We got invited, me and some black homegirls. We come to the table, and the white women all of a sudden start to get quiet. And they didn't like the fact that the black men were looking at us because they're so used to the privilege of being the top tier this. They eventually left because they were uncomfortable by us getting attention as well. They thought that all the attention was going to be on them. And this is common. Me as a black woman, white women do act a certain way around me because they do feel like they should be put on the pedestal at all times. And I'm going to be the loud, aggressive one and X, Y, Z and the other. So I believe that interracial relationships should happen. It's natural. Love is love. But we can't act like people are treated a certain way and we're just lashing out for no reason. Now, the white side is really just straight up racism. Black side, I think it's really reactionary to how we're treated.
And Amber, would you agree with that? It's reactionary on the black side?
I think it's all taught. I think you need a new circle of friends if you think that women are getting jealous or because you're getting attention and because it's not about any of that. I have friends in all walks.
You can't really do that because what you're doing is you're watering down my experience, and you can't just say, "Oh, well, white women don't do this because I don't do it."
No, but that's exactly what you're saying.
I've had multiple situations just like this. And black women are not reacting for no reason. It happens.
Right, but you're also not accounting to the number of white men that date black women. But do you have a problem with that as well, or do you just have a problem?
I don't have a problem with either or.
Because it sounds like you have a problem. That's what it sounds like.
So I'm going to speak from a black woman's experience.
Right.
That's what I'm going to do.
Right.
So I'm going to speak from my experiences as a black woman.
Right. And that's all you
that
can
incident did happen, and then everybody knew it.
But that's one incident. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes we have to get around
one incident.
Sometimes we have to get around bigger-minded people. I mean, if those are the experiences that you're going through, sometimes if you outthink everybody in the room, you need to maybe make some new friends. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, you can't generalize.
That's an insult to me, because that was one incident. That's not my everyday life. It's not my everyday life.
Okay, you talked. I'm talking now. It's very disrespectful for you to generalize white women in general or black women at all, because there are different kinds of people in different kinds of walks of life. I grew up in the South. I mean, so it definitely is going to be different than the North. But at the end of the day, it's all about division, and we're all part of the bigger agenda, which is to keep us divided so that we don't unite and figure out who really is trying to keep us divided. At the end of the day, love is love. And at the end of the day, I understand, and just from being a matchmaker for 20 years, trust me, I understand that it's harder. Only 1 in 4 black women will ever get married. And so I understand that the number of options may feel more diminished. You may feel like there's more options. But at the end of the day, so if you fall in love with somebody on the job and they happen to be Hispanic, should you not do that because Hispanic women are going to have, you think Hispanic women will have a problem with it?
And still ahead, we'll have more of this heated discussion after the break. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. We continue our debate about interracial dating. My guests have the last word. Take a listen.
Bevan, let's wrap us up in the last remaining moments here. Bevan, go ahead and respond.
Yeah, let me respond to that, because you're misconstruing everything I said. I said there's layers. You're doing this whole kumbaya thing. That's not realistic.
Kumbaya?
That's not how the world operates, and that's not what I said.
In your reality.
Let me be very clear.
Hold on, Amber. Let her finish.
Yeah. Okay, let me be very clear. I said one incident. I never said that there should not be any interracial relationships. I said don't be clueless and act all kumbaya like sweet. It's not. It's not. People are literally reacting for a reason, and it's not equal. White people are the oppressors. So however you feel about all the whatever black man you've been with, white people at the end of the day are the oppressors, and most of the time black people are reactionary for real reasons. I never said don't date interracially. I have many times. I'm not strictly black men, but I know when there's microaggressions around me, and I know when white women are doing it. And I didn't say that all white women did it. I said that I've experienced incidents where it's occurred. So that
I'm gonna stop right here, but I want to show you the recently incident with this guy, and his girlfriend was white, his ex-girlfriend. Remember this guy? He was in the Marvel movies.
Okay, y'all, there's another update for Jonathan Majors. As you know, his ex-girlfriend has fled the country, and I'm finding out she's originally from the UK. So she just went home, and she's not going to come back here. She's been gone since, I think, like July. And we're practically going into November, and she's still never returned. She's just not going to come back, so she won't get charged. Not unless they try to contact the authorities over there in London. So we'll see what happens. So Jonathan Majors' criminal case, DA releases new details, including a police incident in London. Prosecutors in the Jonathan Majors case have revealed a previous unreported incident involving London police which they believe is relevant to their domestic violence allegations. Majors was arrested on March 25th in Manhattan and is accused of assault and aggravated harassment following the alleged domestic dispute with his then-girlfriend Grace Jabari. A new 115-page filing obtained by Variety, prosecutors said they are attempting to get a copy of a London Metropolitan Police report from September 2022. While it's unclear what the report contains, the filing references medical care obtained by Jabari at that time. Jabari is a citizen of the UK, and Majors was in London during that period filming two of Disney Marvel series at that time. This development comes days before Majors has turned, he had to return back to court. And any of you know that, in fact, today is the day he had to go back to court and make another appearance. And it's one of the final pre-trial hearings before the judge rules on whether to proceed or dismiss the case. The lengthy filing from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office in response to the actor's motion to dismiss case, it does not entirely lay out the DA's case, though it is intended to provide enough details to move the case forward. So, Variety previously reported the additional alleged abuse victims of Majors or cooperating with the DA's office, but we haven't heard a thing about who these women are that they allege exist. We haven't heard one name out of the DA office as far as that is concerned. So that's why a lot of people are saying they believe that is false. The filing also alleged that Majors' legal team has leaked and misrepresented the court evidence, as well as attempted to have police create a wanted poster with Jabari's photo. It also dismisses the idea that the DA has any plans to prosecute Jabari for domestic violence alleged by Majors, in a counterclaim contradicting recent media reports that claim such an action was imminent. The document also offers new details on the events that led to Majors' arrest. On March 25th, he and Jabari were taking a private car service from a Brooklyn party to their Chelsea apartment. According to the filing, Jabari, who worked as a movement coach alongside Majors on Disney Marvel tentpole Ant-Man, she saw a text on his phone saying, "Wish I was kissing you right now." She allegedly took the phone out of his hands to see who sent the message. Majors then grabbing the right side of Jabari's body, prying Jabari's right middle finger off the phone, causing bruising, swelling, and all that stuff. So, filing continues that Majors had grabbed Jabari's arm and right hand and twisted Miss Jabari's forearm. Now, when I did my last video, the doctor said she got those injuries from falling. The injuries that she had was associated with somebody that took a fall. Okay, so it goes against what they're writing here. So after he retrieved this phone, he exited the car, and Jabari attempted to follow the actor, and that's when the defendant grabbed her, picked her up, and threw her back outside. And they said none of that is on the video. Like, once he got away from her, he literally didn't touch her. And I had a small clipping of the footage where she was standing with a group of people and he just walked right by. He didn't even attempt to talk to her. He just walked right past them. All right, so, they're trying to say that the bodily harm came directly from him, but I showed you the pictures where he had scratches on him, like his arm and everything. And I showed that in the previous video. So Major's lawyers, they want to have this whole thing dropped because, they're claiming they have evidence that Grace DeBari, actually assaulted Majors. And it shows in the videos. So Major's lawyers have previously alleged a video that shows at least one bystander called 911 and that the NYPD patrol car responded to the location. And the defense has been informed that NYPD possessed at least one other 911 call from the scene of the altercation. But the state is casting doubt on the depiction of events. So the DA's filing said an unrelated taxi was pulled over nearby and police were called. This taxi is not in any way involved in the case, the filing said. It alleged that there were no other radio runs, Sprint reports, or 911 calls from the scene of the incident that night. All right, so
I'm gonna stop it right here because I got a little less than time, but I want to say it before that I end the video. I'm gonna talk off for another 5 minutes. Black men, I know, with any woman, and particularly with black men, I know sometimes, you gotta be careful, of our women. But you, especially when you're going with a white woman and you get into a dispute, if you don't get along and you have a disagreement, be careful, because you can end up in a situation like this. So, because it can literally it cost him his career. And she was a white woman. I'm sorry to say it was. Not only she did, her character came into play. She lied on him. She lied on him. He never abused her or anything. And he's fighting like hell to get the charges off. He was a famous actor, starting in the Rocky 3 with Michael B. Jordan. Then he was in the Marvel movie. You see what happened? So even you a successful black man, I mean, don't, if you get disagreeing with any woman, you shouldn't put your hands on any woman. But man, whatever you do, do not just walk away. If she gets crazy, walk away. If she cancel her, because you could be in this situation. And that's just something that, because every couple has a disagreement. But if she do some stuff, you get a white female that do some stuff like this is what can happen. Your whole career can be just, and there have been football players and other athletes that have gone to jail and prison for the rest of their life dealing with some psychotic woman. I'm not saying that it can't happen among some of our women as black men, but white women, it's almost like the tree of a garden. You can have any other woman out there. You touch the white female, everything goes to hell. And the reason why it's like that is the history in this country. Number one, what the brother was saying, that's true. Their family don't, and like I was saying, the family don't truly accept it because the history of this country and what the stereotype is. It's based on stereotype, and that's what it is. And then it's like some people can't really deal with accept it simply because of a different person's features and makeup. Number three, you know how America is, and you gotta be careful being with the white female. I'm serious. You gotta be careful. And if you go through a small town, predominantly white, you definitely got to be careful, because you don't know what person can see you out there, and they can probably try to harass you or try to come at you some kind of way because you with the attractive white female. It can literally cost you your life. Probably. I know it's kind of harsh, but it's a reality. That in different parts, it depends on where you go. It depends on what state and town you live in. You got to be careful. And there's been incidents where, in the past, where a black man was with the white female at the bar. It was one, I think it was in the Carolinas somewhere. And something happened where he got into it with these guys, and he ended up being sent to the upper room. Because some mess, and it wasn't really good. The story didn't make any sense. So, that's the only thing. Like I said, I know it can happen to because somebody can look, a female can look like one. A female can be in our culture, can look the same thing. You gotta be careful of that too. But when it comes to the white female, in the 80% percentile of this society, you take a 50-50 chance on some racist cop pulling you over, like Donovan said. Because when he sees that white female, he sees his daughter, he sees his wife, and he sees his mother. That's how it is. And that gets up with them right here. Then, in the history they used to do with black men, they used to castrate them. Take off their organs from beneath the organs. And they fear and that was another thing. They would do it and you've heard stories about that. Guess what? That spirit haven't left. Some of them still carry that spirit. That's why you have to be careful who you get involved with. Check out her family. Like I said, and I just tell you this because, hey, a lot of people say one thing, I don't see color, and when it's public. But when you go behind closed doors, it's a whole different time and atmosphere. People reveal themselves when you go behind closed doors. That's why I wanted to make this video. And share it, like, and subscribe. But yeah, this is a wake-up call. So black men, you can be careful of any woman. But when you date and marry a white woman, you make sure she's the right one, because it can literally cost you your life or your freedom. But if you do can't find a sister, go find a sister in another country. I'm gonna be honest with you. If the sisters, the black women here don't want you, go to another country with black women, or mixed or indigenous women. Trust me. All right then, ladies and gentlemen. Hoping this is for the men. Till next time, you take care, black men. Be careful who you get with. Men in general, be careful, particularly black men. This time of year could be a season, and you don't want to be the victim. You don't want to lose your freedom. You definitely don't want to lose your life. Take care. Be blessed. See you on the next video.